It is time to do a review of the starboard wall. I've been paddling it for a couple of weeks and are ready to give my thoughts of the board. We start here on land with all the board specification, take a really deep look at the board. Then I'm going to paddle and tell you how I feel about speed, stability, flex and more. Just before we start the test, I got the opportunity from Surfspot in Stockholm to test this board. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I am not paid. I just do this because I'm so curious and I also like to test new boards. This board is 14 foot long, 28 inch wide, 302 liters, and it's only 475 inch thick, and you also have a double chamber that is 2 inch thick. When it comes to the board weight, it is little more than I'm used to with my starboard boards, but I guess this second chamber adds little weight. PSI on this board, the big chamber 15 to 18 PSI and the small chamber 10 PSI. This board has a touring shape because it is a touring board. The nose gets quite quick, wide, and it is a big fat back on this board. So when I look at the board shape of this board, it should be really stable. This board has 3 handles, a nose handle, center handle and a back handle. And the center handle is, as always on starboard's board, so well balanced. And you also find a D-ring in the back for the leash. In the nose of the board you find the FCS mount, so you can fit a camera or a GoPro or a GPS, and you also find this in the package, and this one fit the RAM mount system B size. On this board we have front bungees. They are really good to hold a dry bag, but when it comes to small things like your paddle, it's not so good. But on the other hand, the wall will help me as a flat water paddler to have all my things secured on the board. And when we are talking about the wall makes the board stiffer, and I guess it's also helped starboard to decrease the height of the board, and a thinner board makes the paddler comes closer to the water. The closer the paddler are to the water, the more stable the board will be. You get the big touring fin to a touring board, so that is, and this is like 200 millimeter fin box. The fitting is good as always when it comes to starboard. To reduce the flex and make the board stiffer, this board has a center stringer. The build quality of this board is top notch, just as always when it comes to starboard boards. I really like this bag. The hip belt makes extra comfort, and wall is almost 13 kilo, but I don't feel this extra weight compared to my other boards. This bag has wheels and you can hide the straps in here, and then you can drag the bag like this. With this board you get the starboard tiki pump. You can inflate and deflate. You start pumping on up and down stroke, then you flip to single stroke, only pump on downstroke. And I love this pump because it is so light compared to other pumps to pump with. So this is my favorite pump. And you also get this hose with an adapter so you can pump other things than the board. And this year they have made the fitting of this adapter really tight, because last year it was little too loose, so when you unscrew it from the board it was a big chance to get this loose and all the air get out of the board. You get this repair kit, but you don't get any glue, and that is really good for the environment, because when you need to repair the board, the glue might be too old, so it's better to buy it when you need it and save the environment. We start with the tracking. This board goes so straight. You can be a really bad paddler and this board will still go straight. When it comes to stability, this board is so stable. I haven't paddled a 28-inch board that is so stable like this. This is a really stiff board. I don't feel any flex at all when I paddle. When it comes to speed, this board is more stable than fast, and it is kind of a resistance in this board. If you're a stronger paddler than I am, you might get it to faster speeds. The wall on this board has a lot of benefits. It gets the board ultra stiff, stable, and it also in width. Because it's stable, you can downsize in width and have the paddle closer to your body, and it will be easier to paddle straight. But the downside of this wall, when I paddle barefoot against the wall, is not so comfortable. With shoes, I don't have anything to complain about. And also, if you get water inside this wall, most will drain, but some water will be left, and I need to step back to drain all the water from the wall. A benefit of the wall is also rail steering. This is not the board for me. I paddle more narrow race boards, but this will be the board for you if you want a ultra stable narrow touring board. Then it will be the perfect board. Click here to subscribe and here to watch more videos. Thank you for watching. Feel free to share on social. See you. Until then, paddla lugnt.